Hello and welcome to the Audio Alien Podcast, or AAP for short. My name is Johnny and we are joined today with Malcolm. Malcolm, how's everything going?
Yeah, really good. We've got some interesting things to discuss on our first podcast. I want to look at a couple of areas, so we'll get into those shortly.
Okay, cool. Well, that was a short wait indeed, because we're going to dive straight into them. What do you want to talk about first?
Right, so what I've been looking at is I do a lot of my research and a lot of things that interest me on YouTube. And I like YouTube for a couple of reasons. Obviously, it's fully available to anybody, so anybody can just, with a computer, can just log on and look at YouTube. But secondly, it's also things that people post. Now, anybody can post, just anybody. We're posting this, so that just proves anybody can post a podcast or, in fact, a video. And so you get a lot of people posting things about aliens, and it's not censored. It's not gone through a major TV company. I mean, some of the things you look at, people, it wouldn't get through a TV company. They'd be, it's ridiculous, throw it away, that's crazy. But people, crazies or not, can post. And everybody gets an equal chance to be viewed. So I've been looking through a few things. But one of the things that I've caught note of over the past couple of months is a YouTube channel, Full Disclosure. Now, when you look on YouTube, there's dozens and dozens of things. If you search for Full Disclosure, there's dozens and dozens of sites that say, full disclosure here and all this. But what I was interested in some of the videos, they're talking about 2016 as being a full disclosure year. So it's the year that full disclosure will happen.
Can we just clarify what that exactly means?
Yeah, so from what they're saying, full disclosure is the time when governments and people in authority will actually admit to the contact with extraterrestrials, with intelligence life from other planets. There's been lots of speculation over many, many years. I think the first one goes back to 1947 and Roswell, and saying that's the time when we first had contact. And then I've seen some sites that talk about even earlier than that, 1942 being contact. But of course, nobody has ever come out in government or in power and said, this is something that's happening. We're in contact. We've got technology from extraterrestrials. So this full disclosure is saying that people in governments will come forward and say, there are extraterrestrials out there. We've been talking them. We've been meeting with them. We've been playing Monopoly with them. This is a time that is supposed to happen.
Can I just ask, what is the reasons? Why is 2016 the big year? If this is true, and ever since the 1940s, or could possibly be earlier, why 2016?
Well, it's an easy answer. Absolutely no idea. It's just that everybody's starting to say 2016. I think some of it goes back to some people have been saying that Barack Obama will be the last president of the United States. Okay, we've had an election and Donald Trump has been voted in and he's going to take over next year. But they're still saying that, no, Barack Obama will be the last one. And that is part of full disclosure. Whether that means there will be a world government because of aliens.
That's what I might have actually possibly been from you. When we were once discussing about why Barack Obama will be the last president. It won't be because Donald Trump will blow everything up just before he gets into the office. But it was basically because Obama came out. The sort of rumours on the street are Obama's going to come out and tell everyone that there is extraterrestrial life that we're aware of, and we've been in contact with them, and then that will panic everybody, and a world council will be created and end like the separate country presidential things. But even if that was the case, though, and they did, if they came out and did full disclosure and brought all the secrets out.
One of the things about that is it's not just It's not just the fact that we'll have a World Council. It could be that we actually see America under martial law. And again, there's been talk on some of the conspiracy websites that there's been plans, there's been trials of martial law across certain counties in America. The army have been wheeled in, they've taken over certain areas as a practice to martial law. So there's talks about the last president, because it will now be under martial law. Because of the impact it would have if full disclosure was done.
Can we, just for listeners and viewers like myself who are a little bit behind on all this terminology, can we just explain what martial law means?
Okay, so we have an elected government. We have people who, in England, for example, we have the Prime Minister, and we have members of Parliament who represent each of the constituencies. In America, you have the President, and of course you've got the equivalent that then represent at a local level the people of America. So that's democracy as it works. People are then voted in by the people, so the members of Parliament are voted in by the people, and we have a democratically elected parliament. Where martial law comes in is that we actually see an unelected person who is in charge, and generally what happens is that he has the force of the army. So the actual armed forces of that country support the person that's in charge, and they effectively carry out the roles of the police. So they enforce the law which has been done. And also under martial law, it isn't just as simple as, okay, we've got laws like you can't kill anybody, you can't steal things, lots of laws. Under martial law, it's a lot more simpler. And it might be that, okay, we stop people going out from 9 o'clock at night until 6 o'clock the next morning. They must be in their beds. That would be a curfew, but again, under martial law. And it also could be that, for example, during rioting, there is a law that states that the police can actually shoot looters without trial, so they can shoot them, and that is a ruling through the law, through rioters' law.
The rumour of this is to stop Donald Trump becoming president, isn't it?
Well, it is. So talking about it, but there was also another website, another YouTube channel that actually talked about the prestigiousness of being that person who gives out full disclosure. So, for example, if we look back in history, we can say, well, Abraham Lincoln is one of the famous presidents because he, at a time, something major happened. So Winston Churchill in England was a famous prime minister because of the war. So we can look, and these famous people. But if you go through, certainly in England, you look and you've got Harold Wilson, you've got Callaghan, you've got all these prime ministers that people are almost, listening going, was he a prime minister? Oh yeah, I don't remember him. John Major, because nothing major happened. There's a pun. Margaret Thatcher might be remembered a little bit more because of the Falklands War and the disharmony that was in the UK at the time when she was in power.
Yeah.
But generally what happens is people don't remember a lot of the government, the prime ministers. So if you get somebody that comes along and says, we announced today, I am Obama, or I am Theresa May, or I am Angela Merkel, and I stand there in front of people and say, I am telling you right now, we have made contact with aliens. I don't know, here is an alien.
Yeah.
This is Bob. Bob the alien, if you bring it out, here is the alien, then that president, that prime minister, that chancellor will be remembered and will go down in history as the person that brings it out.
So it's just a little bit of an ego boost for the person who does it.
Yeah. Well, it is, but they're going to be remembered. And so it is it's a nice thing. The reverse effect, of course, is it could bring panics to the markets. It could bring panic
won't it?
Yeah, it will do. It could bring panic to the
how long
people, for
I guess,
religions, until things settle down again. But of course, like any sort of major thing, there's always that worry that something's going to happen. But often the worry, is worse than what actually happens. But again, we might say, yes, there are intelligent life out there. We've made contact and we got things like, microwaves, Velcro, from these aliens. And then, the panic, the markets will dive, and it's all terrible. But then gradually, things will probably return to normal because we haven't got an Independence Day scenario where there's an alien above our heads about to blow the planet up. We've found, something else. So,
can I ask? It's a little bit of a broad question, but this is the first episode, so we'll start big. Why do you think WikiLeaks haven't come out with it? Do you think, because these two reasons, or there's at least one thing that I can kind of think, is it not a priority for them? Are they, because there's a lot of things that they obviously feel very passionate about behind it, but then again, they're all about, their whole sort of game is full disclosure. Why do you think?
Yeah, but is it more about they have an agenda? Everybody has an agenda, whether it's leaking documents, whether it's running a podcast, you have an agenda, and on that agenda, you want to stick to, your purpose wants to stick within that agenda. And so perhaps with WikiLeaks, it's more about, okay, we've got maybe some corrupt people in power, one or two of them are corrupt and doing the wrong thing, so WikiLeaks wants to say, hey people, these people are not good for us, let's show what they're doing and try and get them out. Do WikiLeaks really want to go the whole hog and create panic? Because that's going to turn them into the bad person. Remember, they want to be seen as the good person. This is what I feel, it's only my opinion, but they want to be seen as the good person. So they're almost like a Robin Hood. So they're looking at this and saying, okay, this is a bad person, let's bring them out, let's tell everybody they're a bad person, get them removed, 1-0 to WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks has done something good. If, let's say, WikiLeaks or anybody else comes along and says, there's aliens out there, they're coming to kill us all, and suddenly the whole the markets crash, the people start, the mass suicides, that sort of thing. Suddenly, the governments can turn around and go, hey, WikiLeaks, there you go, what do we tell you? They're bad people. Don't. I think they don't want to be seen. Again, only my opinion. But nobody wants to be seen as the bad person. And the way WikiLeaks are releasing things at the moment, it's only to say, we're the good guys, we're showing you who the bad guys are, now get them out,
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm satisfied with that answer. What else have we got? Full disclosure aside, so far we've learned, we've spoken about the rumours about Obama being the last president, a World Council being set up sort of late 2016, which we're kind of approaching quite fast now, early 2017, if this is going to be the
Well,
year.
that's interesting as well, because there have been one or two sites that have announced YouTube, again, looking at YouTube videos. And again, I know people go, it's YouTube, you get all the nutters on there, but think, yeah, you do. You get all the guys that, crazies that want to put things out there. That's fine. But you'll also get people that maybe who cannot put things out on a mainstream media. It's their only outlet. And so they're looking at something that can get out to the people. And everybody has YouTube. Yes, there are other video sharing sites, but YouTube is the biggest. Yeah. So if you want to get out to a big audience, you want to give your message, then you put it on the biggest platform.
Sticking on the theme of YouTube. What other videos have you been looking at?
Yeah, so the other thing that I've been looking at, and I found quite interesting, is...
Cat videos.
Sorry?
Cat videos.
Cat videos, yeah. Been looking at plenty... No, I'm not actually. I don't look at cat videos. I'm not a cat person. I'm a dog person. I look at dog videos. I'd look at lots of dog videos, but not cats, because, they're cute, but... people are dog people, some people are cat people. Anyway, so going on to what else I've been looking at, and I did actually troll through some really old footage of what's been on the YouTube for like 6, 7, 8, 10 years. That's already been up there. And a few of them have been what's classed as alien interviews. And some of them claim to be back into the 50s and 60s. These interviews were taken, and the film's very grainy, and you've got your lines down it. And I know you were passing comment on one of them that I was watching with the lines, and you were saying, well, that looks fake.
Well, it wasn't the fact that it just looked fake. It was actually a preset from Final Cut Pro 10 of the noise. Distortion of the actual video, so that kind of put me off it just because they were faking the noise, and obviously just to try and create a successful old-looking, found footage sort of style. But I've only seen one. I can only speak for one. But one video that I did see you watching, I've actually seen it before, and it was the one where they were speaking to the scientist who was working on UFOs in Area 51, and they asked him, have you ever seen an alien? He was like, no, I've never seen an alien, but I've worked on the craft, and I think that little things like that, little traits like that, really always perk my interest.
Bob Lazar,
Is that his name?
or Robert Lazar, yeah. He's not named in a few documentaries as Robert or Bob Lazar. Yes.
Yeah. And basically he spoke about being, brought in by the army to sort of, did he say backtrack the technology?
Back engineer, reverse engineer, yeah.
Yeah, and he was saying that the reason why he thought it was alien, other than the way it looked, and pretty much give away if you've never seen anything before, and especially if you're an engineer or a scientist, etc., you've probably seen most things to build certainly all the building blocks in this world anyway. So and he got brought in to Area 51, got shown a UFO, and then basically got told hardly nothing about it, and got told to back engineer all of the mechanics and how things work and stuff, and that if that doesn't shout alien, what does?
That's true, and I thought this comes back to the alien videos I was watching, and some of them, and there's 2 or 3, and the talking to the aliens. There's one where the alien's actually speaking. There's another where somebody's speaking for it because it's claimed that it's done by thought control.
Yeah.
And 2 things spring out. A few things spring out, and one of the first things is it fake? It's obviously fake. That's why it's not been taken off the site. That's why it's not been taken down by the government. They can leave this there because it's entertainment. It's, like somebody watching a horror show or a science fiction show. Yeah. It's entertainment. Then, of course, you have the other side that says, well, actually, maybe it's real. Maybe some of these are real. Yeah, obviously, there's going to be lots of fakes out there. I mean, we could make a fake ourselves today. Here's a puppet, and let's make one. So there could be lots and lots of fakes, but there could be a couple of originals that are real in there. Mm-hmm. And of course, just leave them. Don't take down. Because if government came along and went, it's fake, leave it, fake, leave it. Ooh, there's one there, take it down. Yeah. Then it's going to be like, that's going to bring attention. Whereas if the government just go, they're all a load of crazies, and let them just put them up, and we don't care, we're not interested. But thinking in the background, I wish they wouldn't do that. But leave it, because nobody's going to pay attention. And let's be honest, how many chat shows, how many shows are there out there in the world where they're always looking for something to talk about, aren't there?
Yeah.
But nobody's coming along and going, well, let's look at this alien video.
I think it's unfortunate, the lack of shows that take it seriously. When if you think about the possibilities, it's unrealistic to think it's not real.
Yeah.
If you get what I'm saying. With the extent of the extent and mass size of the universe. Again, big question.
Well, I mean, if you say you go back into ancient times, let's say the time when the Pilgrims went over to America, right? So they went over to America, found this great big country, absolutely enormous country in America. Yeah. They landed West Indies and thought, it's India. No, it's not. It's a whole continent there.
Yeah.
And how could you go? Well, there was the indigenous people there. There was the tribes of Indians and things that were there. Native Americans, they were sort of on the continent, and people didn't go, I expected that whole continent to be completely empty of anybody whatsoever. No, well, of course there'll be the native people to that area. Just like when you look at the universe and you say, well, these countless number of planets. What was one of the things they say? There's more suns out there than there is grains of sand on every beach in the country, in the world. And so there's that many vast things. And each sun has got a number of planets, and that number of planets will have maybe one, or is it 1 in every 5 suns as a planet in what they call the habitable zone, the Goldilocks zone. So if you're thinking that ginormous number, and you're going to tell me there's not one bit of life on any of those, and it only happened on this one planet in all them, people would say you're crazy.
Yeah.
If you believe that, you're crazy. And so now what we're saying is, people saying, aliens are coming to visit us. Well, of course they could come and visit us. But the fact that we're just ignoring it, and I think that's part of the story itself, is they're ignoring it, even though there's so many people that claim to have seen them, been abducted by them. There's all these stories. It might be better to actually just turn around and say, look, this is the truth, because the truth often is not as glamorous as all the stories that's made up. Here's the truth. Yeah, we have had some contact. Yeah, we have had some technology from them, but you've benefited because you've got microwaves
noodles
and you now have a baked potato in 4 minutes instead of taking 2 hours in an oven. So come on, you've benefited.
What oven are you having that takes 2 hours to bake a potato?
You've obviously never cooked a roast potato. So I think that there's a lot of questions out there with regard to whether they're fakes and whether not. And there could easily be fakes. But the whole point is there may be some out there that aren't fakes. And it's very interesting. I'm not saying any of these alien interviews are, but I certainly think there's a lot of sites out there, which we'll come to in future episodes, but a lot of sites out there that are taking videos from all around the world, people submitting them of what they've taken. And even if 99% of them are explainable and are not alien, there's questions about at 1%.
Indeed. Talking about the Goldilocks zone and saying there's so many planets that are inhabitable and things. I mean, how common is it now to look on the news website and one of the news stories, often quite lower down than they should be, in my opinion. That's irrelevant. About how common do we get it that scientists have discovered that a certain planet, X million light years away might have water on it, or it might have this on it, or is similar to Earth and stuff. That's not a rare occurrence. Mars with all its ice and possible fossils, etc. I heard something about I'm not going to quote it just because I'm not 100% sure now, but it's my point is that it's not rare to find little inhabitants. And don't get me wrong, I think a lot of people, when you say the word alien, they think a fully fledged, grey with a ray gun, zapping everyone up and stealing kids. And that's certainly what some people like see and etc. But what comes with that bubble are all the bacteria, all the little fish, all of the tiny little microorganisms which are life. And bringing back to that point, if you ask someone, do they think aliens exist, and they say no, I wonder if they don't really think about little microorganisms and little.
Yeah, they're probably thinking of the time that they watched Butt Ugly Martians on the TV, and they've got guys in little blue boots running around. But what you've got to think of is it Europa, where they've seen on one of the moons of Saturn. There is. Or certainly one of the moons, they think there is an ocean underneath the ice, a proper moving water ocean.
On Mars?
On Europa.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking you've got a water ocean there, can you really think that in that ocean, you've got sunlight, you've got radiation coming from the sun, you've got all the chemicals there, you've got water, you must have something there for bacterial life. Even little seaweed, etc. You can have anything. And if you think that life on this planet started in the water, and it was only when little strange bug-eyed things started crawling out of the water, that then became life on land. If you think, well, you could be looking back at millions of years of evolution on Earth, and you could be looking at that happening now on Europa. And anybody that says, there's no life out there, there's no aliens, they must be crazy. It could be just literally around the corner.
Only in 10 billion years,
10 billion miles away, just around the corner.
I think that's absolutely right. I mean, there will be. All around the universe, there'll be planets at every stage of that, evolutionary scale. I'm pretty positive there'll be some out there that are vastly ahead of us. are vastly ahead of us, and there'll be some that haven't even started yet.
Absolutely. I mean, just because we're at this point, and because we've been on this planet so many million years, what is it, about 5 million years, I think, that humans have been walking or around. I mean, you've got to think that the planet's 14 billion years old, and we went through evolution stages, obviously bits of life, and then it went to dinosaurs, and the dinosaurs were wiped out, and then mammals became, and then we sort of came up from that. So if you think that on another planet, let's say the dinosaurs didn't get wiped out, let's say then that they evolved into sort of reptile people, for a want of a better word, they might have gone through that 60 million year gap of not having any, let's say, intelligent life. Their intelligent life could have started 65 million years ago if it ran in tandem with ours, and they could well have 65 million years of technology. Easily, and they could have gone through all the phases that we've gone through of people trying to smash each other's brains in, trying to shoot each other just because they move, trying all these ridiculous things that we do now, this hatred that's absolutely no point to whatsoever, and this stupid, people not liking somebody just because they look this way or they act this way or they do something different. That ridiculous notion. They've got past all that, and they've started working together, which is another podcast I want to come to. Started actually working together, looking out to the stars and going, hey, instead of going to Spain or Malaga for our holidays, let's get off to the next star for our holidays, and started actually looking out there. So there's so much more to discuss, but we're just in one phase of our evolution. All these other planets are going to be in their own phases of evolution, and that could easily be, there'll be some behind us, and there'll be many, many more ahead of us, and traipsing around the universe looking for the new latest holiday hotspot.
I think it's again, it's a whole nother podcast about. Obviously, our world isn't looking that great at the moment. Leonardo DiCaprio's pretty much letting us know about that one. So it is time we really do put our priorities right and sort of think, what are we going to do about this? Are we going to go with SpaceX and start colonising Mars, or start doing a Wally and all jumping in a spaceship and going across the stars, which I think looks rather fun. But yeah, anyway, we'll get onto that for another podcast. But I think. I think it's all hopefully very exciting, and who knows?
And there's so much to discuss. That's the point, because it's been left open, because nobody's coming out and saying full disclosure and saying, hey, we've got these guys, we've done this, because nobody's saying that. It's leaving everybody to speculation. We're doing this right now. There could be another 100 million people all around the world doing exactly the same, saying, oh, what's happening with this? Why is this? Why is that? And it leaves open the conspiracy theories. It leaves open so much. But at least it can talk about it, and it's interesting. And whilst people may turn around and say, oh, no, there's no life out there, fine, we're not going to talk it. We're not going to risk the markets crashing. We're not going to risk people losing faith with religion, etc. Because of suddenly seeing aliens, which, again, I don't agree with. I think you can have faith. You can have faith in life after death, in what happens after death, and still have aliens running around. You may not have this concept there is one God looking after everything. That may not be the case. However, we don't know. It will not destroy faith. Will seeing aliens. I don't believe that. And if it does, the people it does destroy the faith for, I think only had a weak faith anyway. So so I think that's to sum up that. I think there seems to be this big push on full disclosure, and I think it'd be interesting to see what happens late 2016, early 2017. Does Donald Trump come in? Do we see President Obama as the last president of the UK, of America? What happens?
Well, yes, you're absolutely right, and I think if any of those things happen, expect another podcaster, to say the least. Right, well, I think that'll about do it for the first episode. Thank you very much for watching, or I should say listening, whichever you're doing. Thank you very much. It's very much appreciated. If you would like to get in contact with us, either ask us a question and start a discussion with us, or let us know any information that you've discovered, or something that you've been through, make sure to either email us on the email below or comment in the comment section. But thank you very much once again, and that